Alright guys, a very new, unique house on the market that I'm going to talk to you about today. Born to Stand Out fragrances. They're from South Korea and they're currently selling at Lucky Scent. I'm going to let you know about 5 different fragrances created by Firmenich perfumers. I'm going to do a rank list, and there's also a discount code over at Lucky Scent. It's the perfume guy, which saves you 10%. So if you're curious to learn about Born to Stand Out, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, we're talking about Born to Stand Out from South Korea. This is a new house I've been seeing pop up at a lot of different places, especially over at Lucky Scent. I noticed that they carry the entire line now, and very intriguing fragrances, and of course very intriguing names, catchy names as well. Now recently I did a video on rice fragrances. I featured Dirty Rice in that video, and I'm going to talk to you about it today. But there's 5 different fragrances here I'm going to talk to you about. They launched with maybe 10 or 12 fragrances. I didn't have the exact count, but they've launched with a lot of different fragrances and very catchy names. But they're also created by Firmenich perfumers. So we've got Hamid, Merati, Kashanni. Everybody knows these names. We've got Nathalie, Lorson, Honorine, Blanc, and of course Olivier, Cresp, and one other perfumer as well, which I'll let you know what he created. But really interesting fragrances here. One that I'm really enjoying, which I've put at number 1, but I'll tell you all about the fragrances. But in the meantime, if you know about this house and you've sampled their fragrances, can you put a comment down below so I can find out? And don't forget to take advantage of that discount code, the perfume guy over at Lucky Scent, which saves you 10% off. So let's go ahead and get started with number 5. This is rank list, and I don't have every fragrance here. I only have 5. And in this particular video, I'm ranking this fragrance at number 5. This is Sex and Cognac. So I really wanted to love this one a lot, especially because the name is so catchy. I really enjoy it. And cognac, what a sexy, spirit to drink. But this one actually didn't go boozy on me. It went more woody leather rather than any cognac appearing. So I feel like a cognac doesn't really have the smell of booziness when you actually smell it. It doesn't have that kind of like perfumey boozy smell. So maybe that's what they're going here for, a realistic cognac smell. But I wanted that kind of bright boozy characteristic of boozy fragrances, and I didn't get it. But in, the notes include cognac, Laotian oud, papyrus, leather, saffron. So these are the notes mentioned, and as I was saying, cognac didn't come out very bright and boozy on me. I feel like the oud, the papyrus, and the leather and saffron really dominated here and kind of like taken over whatever boozy characteristic the cognac note had in this one. But if you like the idea of leather and oud together with smokiness and of course aromatic spicy touches, definitely one for you to try. So in the end, it's very woody, oudy, and leathery for sure. And there's some warm spicy touches and some light smokiness here. Although I shouldn't say light smokiness, it's pretty prominent smokiness. There's definitely some light animalic undertones in this particular fragrance. So I'm putting it here at 5. I wouldn't know where it would end up because I haven't sampled the entire collection of this house, but who knows, that could end up at 5 still with everything else that's available from the brand. They have other fragrances, of course, and this is all I have are 5 different fragrances from the house. So if you already have sampled these fragrances, as I mentioned, can you put down what you liked about the fragrances and which ones turned out to be your favorites? But at number 4, it's Drunk Saffron. Remember, these are all created by Firmenich perfumers. Honorine Blanc is with the Firmenich. And you know, I wanted to really love this one as well, but something is a little off-putting up top, but it does get really nice and boozy and leathery as well. And saffron in perfumes can go aromatic spicy and of course also leathery. I think what really rubs me the wrong way with this one is the top notes. As soon as you spray it, it's a little off-putting and then it develops into a really nice, pleasant fragrance. But it wasn't like 100% perfect. That's why I put it here at number 4. But it's saffron with cognac, there's leather, there's Indonesian patchouli, there's vanilla, coffee, plums, and musk. There's a lot of things happening. It does get a little fruity. Coffee touch comes in, so it can go a little gourmandy. But I think when you first spray it, I think that metallic sharpness of the saffron comes and hits my nose. So it's an overdose of saffron, I feel like, in this fragrance. That's why it was a little off-putting, but it does settle to a nice, beautiful, earthy, leather, boozy, kind of fruity, gourmand kind of a musky fragrance. Not uber gourmand, but some gourmandish touches in here. So I'm still testing this one out. Might actually end up really liking it, but for now I'm feeling it at number 4. This is Drunk Saffron. A really catchy name once again. The names of these fragrances are really fun, and you know, I actually really do enjoy their bottles too. They're very catchy, and the red stands out all against white and some black there as well. Really, I feel like they've done a lot of work on their presentation and their marketing and branding, so it makes them really catchy and very stand out, and makes you want to actually, you know, go there and smell the fragrances, because if they're boring, you know, presentation and, you know, boring bottles and things like that, sometimes you might skip over them, but these ones really are very inviting for me. So this next one is at number 3. It is Dirty Rice. I featured Dirty Rice here because rice note is very intriguing for me in fragrances, and as I said, this one was featured in a rice fragrances video. If you haven't caught that video, please go catch it. I like the idea of rice because it creates a kind of a nuttiness, grassiness, and a bit, not bit, but a lot of powderiness, and of course there's some milky undertones there as well with rice, so it's got all these different characteristics. So Dirty Rice is created by Olivier Cresp, and it features notes of musk, basmati rice, cedar, milk, vetiver, Cetalox, sandalwood, peony, almonds, and bergamot. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here, and I really like this fragrance. The way it wears, I do enjoy the other two a little more than this one, but for what this one is, it's really, really nice. First of all, it's very, very musky. You definitely have that, and also it's basmati rice, and I've cooked basmati rice many times, as I was mentioning in that video of rice fragrances. And what I like about cooking rice is that steam when you open up the pot or the rice cooker and it hits your nose, there's that distinct smell, and it's captured here as well. So you've got that kind of smell here in you know, perfume form, but there's lots of woods here. There is milk, so there's definitely a milky undertone here, and then of course Cetalox to kind of create a longer lasting fragrance, because it adds this kind of a synthetic base to the fragrance, and lots of woods, light, very light floral touches with this one, and of course citruses are very light as well. And I feel like the almonds in this fragrance kind of accentuate the almondy nuttiness of the basmati rice note in here. I think this is a really fun fragrance. I don't know if you guys are into the idea of rice fragrances. Let me know, put a comment down, because I know I've received so many questions from you guys asking me to do a video on rice fragrances, and this one definitely does fit in the theme of rice fragrances, because in the end it's called Dirty Rice. So I don't get a lot of dirtiness. I don't know where the name comes from. I think it's just a catchy name. For me, it's pretty clean. There's not a lot of dirtiness in this for me, but then again, you know, you might experience fragrances differently. But in the end, it's very woody, musky, powdery, a bit lactonic and sweet. So this is Dirty Rice, number 3, created by Olivier Cresp. So number 2, one of my favorite perfumers, Nathalie Lorson, has created a fragrance for the house of Born to Stand Out called Mud. And it's a very muddy chocolate fragrance. Do you guys like the idea of chocolate fragrances? This is very interesting and very intriguing. It's mud, but I mean, it's chocolate, but it's kind of muddy, like, you know, it's how mud is. It's just kind of too much mixed kind of a thing, and that's how this chocolate fragrance wears. But it's chocolate, elemi with plums, vanilla, milk, almonds, amber, sandalwood, and rose. Very unique chocolate fragrance for me in that it's very inviting to wear. It's delicious, but you actually experience the muddiness because it's just the way the fragrance is blended or something. But in the end, it's got very fruity touches in here, milky, lactonic touches as well, but nuttiness comes in, but I feel like there's definitely a powdery element to this, a spicy powdery element to create this kind of a you know, wearing experience of mud, but in chocolate form, and if that makes sense. Then I think it's a great gourmand, very unique fragrance created from Born to Stand Out by Nathalie Lorson, and I like that they took chocolate into the direction of something to kind of interpret mud, and I think that Nathalie Lorson has done a great job with it as well. And also, I should say, it's not necessarily uber gourmand. Also, it is gourmand, but not necessarily like the most uber gourmand fragrance, because there's some things in here to kind of tone down from getting into the, you know, that place of being called an actual full-on gourmand. But there's definitely the idea of chocolate, vanilla, almonds here to create that you know, gourmandy effect. But that's Mud at number 2. Let me know if you've sampled that one, and what do you think about the idea of that if you haven't. Any of these fragrances intriguing to you? Let me know, put a comment down so I can find out. Alright, and last but not least is Smoking Gun. This is by a new perfumer I'm not too familiar with, Florian Gallo. And I believe he works at Firmenich, because all these fragrances are created by Firmenich perfumers. And this one was the most interesting for me. I really like the way it smells. To me, on me, it smells fantastic and I love it. So it has juniper, pine, bigarat orange, rum, Campari, whiskey, incense, Virginia cedar, tobacco, leather, vanilla. So I feel like some of the fragrances might have overlapping ingredients and notes, but for me, this one smells super fantastic. It's very smoky and boozy at the same time. It does hint at something like smoke from Acro, which is also a Firmenich created Olivier Cresp fragrance, but this one really a boozy take on smokiness, if that makes sense. But there's lots of aromatic and pine-like touches in here. Sweet orange and bitter orange comes in, but it's an overdose of different types of boozy notes. Rum, Campari, and I feel like the bitter orange and the Campari kind of accentuate one another. And then of course there's the whiskey, so I think we've got an overdose of booziness in this. But eventually it becomes tobacco-ish, leathery, and woody when it's drying down. And for me, the vanilla in here adds a little bit of a sweetness to enhance and make this fragrance a little more inviting. Whereas I featured Sex and Cognac at the bottom, I feel like it was missing a little sweetness, and it was all going in one direction. And maybe if it had a little more sweetness there, it might have been a little more inviting. This one, it's lots of smoke. It's Smoking Gun after all, but there's sweetness to balance it out, and I wanted that in Sex and Cognac. I didn't get it there, but I got it here, and this is fantastic. This is Smoking Gun from Born to Stand Out, created by Florian Gallo. So this is the first time I've heard of this perfumer's name. He beat out all the very well-known perfumers I'm familiar with, so I want to see what else he's done. But according to my research, he's done several fragrances for this house, so I'm curious to get my nose on them. But that's what I have for you today, a rank list of 5 different Born to Stand Out fragrances. Let me know if you've sampled these fragrances, and if you haven't, which one sounds great to you. I'd like to find out. And as I said, these are selling currently at Lucky Scent. I believe they're the only retailer currently here in the States. And there's that discount code for you as well, the Perfume Guy, which saves you 10% off. Thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.